Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Thomas Fross here with Fross and Fross Wealth Management with your weekly market and economic update for the week of June the 20th, 2021. As always, please make sure you read the disclosures that were attached to this video, or if you happen to be watching on social media, you can simply go to lplresearch.com, read any of the disclosures that you might find therein. So if you can't tell by the bronze color of my skin, Jenny and I took a little vacation last week, and a little beach vacation. And what surprised us was how jam-packed the airports are. We thought that people would stop traveling and they would not get back to their normal life. We were completely wrong. As I continue to say, we're one day closer to this whole thing being over. And if you'd have flown through Miami last weekend, you would have thought that it's over. People are certainly feeling better with the vaccine rollout and beginning to get back at it. And while we were on vacation, markets were laser focused on the Federal Reserve meeting. Otherwise, things were rather boring, which is not bad when I'm not in the office. Overall, stocks did lose just a little bit, but there was not a significant move downward. In fact, over the last couple of months, almost 40% of trading days have reflected moves of less than 1/5 of 1% in either direction. That is indicative of a rather calm market, which is not, once again, a bad thing in this environment. The highlight of the week was the Federal Reserve meeting, and while everyone anticipated Chairman Powell would provide some sort of a timeline for when the Fed would begin tapering the purchase of bonds, that's a fancy way of saying that they were waiting to see when the Federal Reserve would begin to unwind all this extra stimulus that's being put into the economy right now. Think of the economy, it almost died, and it was not put on life support in the spring of last year and the end of March of 2020. The question is, when is the patient healthy enough to begin to taper the stimulus or to pull them off life support? And the fact is, as I mentioned, there was no timeline discussed. In fact, Chairman Powell hinted that the Fed would probably not begin raising rates again until 2023. The Fed maintained its view that inflation is strictly transitory. I guess that's up for some argument. And they made very little of any mention of any tapering. The very slight remark made was that they were talking about tapering, essentially to set the stage for the future when they do decide to actually begin talking about tapering. Since we've seen in the past that when the Fed actually does talk about tapering and then subsequently does, volatility can come in strong, like it did back in 2013 when we saw the taper tantrum. That's why Chairman Powell made it clear that there's really no timeline, so don't get upset for that, and that they were only talking about it, and they've not began talking about it yet. Say that 3 times. Now, after the Fed's announcement, there was some slight amount of volatility, but nothing like what will come once they actually start talking about tapering rather than talking about tapering. Real volatility may be on the horizon, but it's in our view that it's not as close as what some would believe. The markets have had some slowdowns and losses this week, but it's only settling in. It's the economy, the expansion certainly is not coming to a halt. Riding the wake of the robust economic expansion with inflation on the rise and lowering stimulus from the Fed, returns are likely to come in at more of a moderate pace, and probably we'll see some bigger speed bumps in the future. Now, the good news is that with the rate hike likely being not until 2023, investors can now rest knowing that historically the 2 years leading up to policy rate increases, that they have been good for stocks. We continue to keep a watchful eye on inflation, unemployment, and market changes, and the talk about tapering moving forward. Well, we hope you have a wonderful week. We look forward to seeing all of you soon. Stay safe. And remember, we're there. This has finally come to be behind us. Have a wonderful day.